Good day, learners. We are back again on the questions about what we have covered so far in analytical geometry. So now, remember I said a coordinate consists of an x and a y. So this means that it's an x first always, then a y value after. So be careful on that one. So now they are saying we are given point A, B, C, and D. So we can just label them so that we don't forget. Make it thinner. We have x, we have y. 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 Right? Okay? So now, the first question is saying, prove that AC is perpendicular to BD. So we are required to prove, RTP means required to prove, that AC is perpendicular to BD. So how will we do that? Remember, I said to prove that lines are perpendicular, the product of their gradient must be equal to what? -1. That's what analytical geometry says. Right? Okay? Okay, let's look at AC first. Okay, our coordinates of A, we have -2 and 3. Let's say it's x1 and y1. So immediately in a coordinate, immediately you choose that you have x1. That means even the y value must be y1. Take note of that. Let's go to C. So C, we have 10 and 3, right? This means that must be 2. x2, then the y value will be y2. So by looking at our A and C, we can calculate the gradient, because the formula of the gradient, it says gradient is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. What is our y2? We said our y2 is what? Is 3. Minus, remember, the minus is compulsory. It is for the formula. So don't be careful on -3, which is y1. So it's minus -3, which is y1. Remember, this minus is for the formula. It's not for the y1, right? The y1 also has its own negative. Then let's check. Over. What is our x2? It's 10. Minus. What is our x1? It's -2. So you are going to punch it on your calculator. You are going to have 6 over 12, which is 1 over 2. So we can say that our gradient of what? AC is 1 over 2. Right? Now let's check the gradient of BD. Okay? So let's just rub AC and focus on BD now. So let's say in B we have x1, meaning it's y1. Then on D, we have x2, meaning it's y2, right? The formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. This is the formula for calculating the gradient, right? Then you come again. What is your y2? Your y2 is 2 minus, what is your y1? Your y1 is -2, right? Over. What is your x2? Your x2 is 3. Minus, what is your x1? Which is 5. So we are going to have what? We are going to have 2 minus -2 over 3 minus 5. Then it's going to give you -2. Right? But remember, we said the gradient, the product of the gradient of perpendicular lines is equal to what? -1. This means that if we take gradient of what? Of AC and multiply by gradient of BD, we must get -1. If we don't get -1, this means that these two lines are not perpendicular. Right? But if we get -1, this means that these two lines are what? They are perpendicular. Let's check. What is the gradient of AC? The gradient of AC is 1 over 2. The gradient of BD is -2. This gives us -1. Therefore, we can conclude that AC is perpendicular to what? To BD. Why? You can say the product of the gradients of these lines is equal to -1. Right? Okay? If you have a question, you can post it in the comment section. Let's go to the next question. So the next question, they're saying, find the midpoint of AC and of BD. Midpoint of AC is, midpoint of BD is. Okay, so now we are supposed to find the midpoint of AC and the midpoint of BD. Remember, I said x value of midpoint will be what? X value of midpoint will be x1 plus x2 over 2. Right? Let's go and look at AC. Right? So in AC, A it's, let's just write them here. A it's -2 and -3. This is our A. Our C it's 10 and 3. Right? So now we go down. What are we going to have? This will be x1, y1. Then x2, y2. Right? So the x value of the midpoint of our AC will be what? -2 plus 10 over 2, which will be what? 8 over 2, which is 4. This is the x value. Be careful. Right? What about the y value of midpoint of AC? You will be y1 plus y2 over 2. What is our y1? Our y1 is -3. What is our y2? Our y2 is 3. Right? Over 2, which is 0. Right? This means that the coordinates, the midpoint, the coordinates of the midpoint of AC, it's what? It's 4 and 0. X is 4, y is 0. So we can just wrap this and just write the coordinates since we have calculated. Right? So this is for saving space. But you, when you answer in your question paper, you don't wrap this, right? You don't. Please don't wrap this. I'm just wrapping for me to get the space. So we said our x, remember the coordinates consist of what? An x first, then a y after. Our x is 4, our y is 0. So 4 and 0 is the coordinate of the midpoint of what? Of AC. Okay? Now let's go to the next one. The midpoint of BD. The x value will be what? x1 plus x2 over 2. What is our x1? Our x1 is 5. Our x2 is 3. So we have 5 plus 3 over 2, which is what? Which is 8 over 2, which is 4. Right? Then the y value, the formula is y value is equal to y1 plus y2 over 2, which will be, let's check our y1 and y2. So in this case, our y1 is -2, our y2 is 2. So it's -2 plus 2 over 2, which will be 0. Oh! So the midpoint of AC and the midpoint of BD, they are the same. Because why? Our x value of midpoint of BD is 4. The y value is 0. Same as of AC. So we can just write 4 and 0, which is the midpoint. Okay? So we have 4 and 0 as well. Right? Okay? So I will do more videos and more questions. Thank you for watching this video.